I think it's just like I said, we had a great surge of momentum that took us up from League One to the Prem, and now that momentum's turned around, so it's going to take some massive. I think it might take a bit of an upheaval with the squad in the summer. Get rid of some of the dead. I feel bad saying dead wood, but some of the players that were heroes for us, getting us up to where we are now. It's like their legs have gone, and it's just like I think someone summed it up the other day. It's like the batteries have run out, and you can't replace the batteries anymore. It's just they're up. People such as John Fleck, who was sensational for us, in getting us from League One to the Prem this season. He's not even half the player. He's like an eighth of the player that he once was, and it's sad to see. I think we might need to take a bit of a sledgehammer to the squad in the summer, but it's just trying to somehow change that mentality around, because that's how it was. I mean, for me, really, we shouldn't even be in the Premier League, let alone fighting to stay in it. I think our squad is top eight championship. Even the squad we got promoted with when we finished second in the championship, I think that squad was about top 8 in the championship. But it was just, the belief and the mentality of the players made them perform better than you would expect on paper, and it did last season. And then, we had Project Restart, a couple of shaky results here and there. There was no vocal support from the fans in the stadium to give them that boost. And like I said, they just started to show a few cracks here and there, lost a bit of confidence, and then it just created a vicious cycle of losing low confidence, and the momentum that carried us up. It's so easy to get that momentum that can take you down as well. And I'm hoping that we don't do a Sunderland and do a double dip relegation. We're down now, so I'm just hoping that next season we can actually garner some positivity, just get that belief back in the squad, like that fight and that spirit that we had in our bellies. It's just gone from the squad. It was like a roaring fire last season, and now it's just completely extinguished. And I don't know what it's going to take to reignite that fire that we had that saw us reach the top 10.
That's a very good point there. I mean, you made some good points as well. I just hope that if you do get relegated, I hope you come straight back up, because your club's a canny club. You've got a family club there as well. I hope you put Chrissy Wilder keep Wilder there next season as well. You got to give him a chance to get up again. I believe you will do, because you're going to get some money from parachute payments, and I know World 2 is going to leave your club, and which is a shame. And you got to get him the money, what he can do, and get the players to get back from the Premier League again, if you see what I mean. But do you think Chris Wilder will stay next season? Do you think he'll move on? Because he's been linked last season with West Ham, and he was happy to stay out of your club. And I think you'll get another club along the way, I hope.
I mean, I think he gets linked with a lot of people. Every time Burnley or West Ham, anyone, clubs of that ilk are like looking for a new manager. I imagine if you sacked Steve Bruce today, I imagine the rumours would be that Chris Wilder, I imagine he'd be linked with that kind of job. He's had this for a while now, and I think, he would ideally, given his own way, stay with Sheffield United till the end of his career. He's as you'll know, he's a boyhood Sheffield United fan. He played for the club. He loves us. The fans love him. And I'm glad that the owner came out and stated that he said, if we go down, I want to stick with Chris Wilder. I want him at the to manage Sheffield United. So I'm really glad that the owner came out and offered some clarity in that. There was a lot of rumours in the week going, "Oh, has Chris Wilder walked?" I really don't think he will walk. I don't think it's I really don't think it's in Chris Wilder's mentality to quit. I think he'd only do it if he genuinely 100% believed that him leaving was the best thing for the club. But I just don't think it's in his mentality to walk away from the club, especially in the middle of a season. Maybe in the close season early on, if he thinks I've done as much as I can do. I'd be absolutely heartbroken if he left. And honestly, I can't think of anyone I'd actually think could do a better job than he could. I don't think there's anyone that could come in and resurrect this season from the ashes. And I just, it's a lot of these players. I know he's built this team himself. The players that he's chosen over the years, the players that he's like picked from, like, you know, places people don't usually go, like people from League Two, League One. He signed them, brought them up through the Championship, basically built their careers for them. And I know, like, some of the current players and some of the former players that played under Wilder said that, obviously you want to win, but they said, like, you want to win for Wilder. And that's like the players that have come up with us through the seasons. Some that don't play for us anymore, but they've said you want to win for Chris Wilder. And just the bond he created. You know, he came in, it was a toxic atmosphere at the time. He turned the club around. I think he's a victim of his own success, really. I think if we were still in the Championship now, in the playoff zone, and let's say we never got promoted to the Prem and we were just in like the top 5 of the Championship, no one would really be raising any eyebrows or asking for him to be sacked. But because he got us up to the Premier League way ahead of schedule, people just moved the bar up and said, that's in your expectation. And now that he's got, you know, a championship side that should be like 10th in the Championship, at the bottom of the Prem, people are going, oh, maybe he should be sacked. But like I said earlier, we shouldn't even be in the Prem, let alone fighting for our lives. So I think he's a victim of his own success, really.
Yeah, this is a shame, really, because he's loved by the Sheffield United fans, and they love him. He's a Blades fan, and he wants to do the best for the team. And it may come to an end at some stage because he's been there quite a long time. But whoever comes in his place, I just think it's going to be a hard act. He's going to be a hard act to follow because it's going to got to be better than Chris Wilder. Because if he doesn't kick it off, sort of thing, then no one can replace him at all whatsoever. But at Newcastle, I've been watching Newcastle games this season, right, under Steve Bruce. Football has been absolutely terrible for us this season. He's just keeps saying 5-4-1, and there's ultra defensive football. It's not enjoyable to watch. They've got a £40 million playing Joe Linton. He's only scored 3 goals in 55 league games since he's been here, which is terrible. £40 million, and Newcastle fans aren't happy at all whatsoever. So I might be a Joe Linton fan, but what do you think about this season for what you're watching?
Well, with Newcastle, I've like watched the odd bit here and there. And it's like, I thought it was like a bit inconsistent because I think I might be wrong with this, but I think earlier on, I feel like you started fairly, like there was a bit where you were doing fairly okay. And you were like, maybe like, did you like push up towards the top 10 and a bit higher? And it was like, oh, Steve Bruce, he's doing all right here. And it's just like, I remember like a few, you know, quite a while back now, or probably about 8 years ago, I think it was under Pardew when you had Demba Ba and Papi Cisse, and you were like top 5, even pushing top 4. And it's just like, since then, it just feels like, I wonder, like, you know, like, it's hard being like a Premier League club. I suppose like you're obviously far more established. And us last season, it was just exciting to be here, and it was a bit of a roller coaster. And we overachieved. This season, it's about staying in. But I just feel like Newcastle, like, you're never really in a relegation scrap, but you're never really like pushing for anything more. It's just like you're treading water in the Premier League, and I just think that must be like quite frustrating as a fan. Like, with a club as big as Newcastle, and you've got, you know, let's say you've got quite, you know, all right, you're not Man City, but you've got rich owners, and there was that frustration with the PSG buyout that fell through. That it looked like a set deal, and you're thinking, right, this might be the thing that takes us up a gear and makes us, you know, an established like top 6 club, really. You know, like look at Leicester now. They had that miraculous season, but they've kept it up now, and each year, you know, last season, this season, they're going to be in the top 4, really. And it's just like Newcastle could be up there as well. They definitely have the potential, but it's just, it must be so frustrating. I think like Steve Bruce, I think it's like, I don't think his ambition for Newcastle matches that of the fans. I think like you need a more ambitious manager. Like, I think he's sort of coming and he's treating it as if it's like a relegation club that, oh, well, we'll just sit back and try and keep it steady. And I think, like, you know, you need someone in, like, honestly, I was like, if you had like someone like Brendan Rodgers, and obviously he's at Leicester, and you're going to be very hard, you know, to sign him now. But someone like that that's just got a bit more ambition for Newcastle as a club. And I just think another thing, like, you know, I've not been watching you too closely, but you just seem quite inconsistent as well. Like, sometimes you'll be great, and then sometimes you'll just be like, wow, that's a completely different team that, you know, might end up in the bottom 4 or something. So I don't really know what to expect from you guys on Tuesday, so a bit of an unknown quantity.
Well, thing is, we had Mike Ashley for 14 years, right? And he got 2 relegations, about 3 near misses, right? And it's all the ambition at the clubs to finish 17th place. 17, that's all his Bob Alabut, or just happy to stay in the Premier League. Yeah. We as fans deserve ambitious, deserve success because we're a huge club. Yeah. And we've got a great fan base as well. We haven't won a trophy since 1969, and we won the FA Cup in 1955. The trouble is, and I hate to say this, right, but until Mike Ashley leaves the club, we're just going to be a stagnating club because at the end of the day, right, we got no one under Mike Ashley. All he does is buy cheap and sells on the profit. And another thing is our transfer policy. Yeah, we sign players onto a 4, 5, 6 year deal and haven't come off. We got players like Henry Sauvé, Rolando Allen's supposed to be the Huddersfield the other day. We got to get rid of Arshav Lassar, Christian Atsu.
Yeah.
It's like that. And they're at a contract at the end of the season. They earned about 30, 40, 50,000 pounds a week. And for what? Just on the Arsenal idea and just can't count the money.
Yeah.
So we've got huge problems. And another thing is our training complex needs updating so badly. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's just like a training ground from the 60s, 70s. Right? It was absolutely poor, man. But Rafa Benitez, we had him for 3 years and he's begging the club to update the training facilities, yeah, but they got no interest whatsoever. So unfortunately, that's why Mike Ashley let him walk because he didn't really want Rafa Benitez. Yeah, that's why we got Steve Bruce on the cheap option on £1 million a season. And unless we see ambitions, then unfortunately, it's just going to be the same. But at the minute, if you beat us on Tuesday, right, then Steve Bruce, I hope, will lose his job because there's no way we should be losing to you guys. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that disrespectful, but we do not want to be the first team to get beat after us this season. But we've been breaking records before. But I'll tell you what, if you come at us, we're going to have about 30% of the possession. You probably have about 60 or 70% of the possession because we just give the ball away and we just sit back. And it is so frustrating to watch. It's not sexy to watch. I think if you come at us, then you're going to have some joy. But if Joe Linton starts the game,
most, like you said, like most teams that would face a Newcastle side that sit back and are very negative, they probably would get a bit of joy. But I'm not holding my breath because we're struggling to create. Honestly, from what you said there, I think it sounds like it's going to be a really turgid, boring game of football. Just two sides, a really stale, stagnant game that's just lost in the midfield. Just two sides giving the ball away constantly in midfield because we struggle to keep possession. I mean, we were a bit more positive on Saturday, but then again, you're thinking that's because we've got more space and time on the ball because it's a League One side. But we really struggle just to actually pass forward and move forward. And we're really negative as well in a way. Like we get I think it was the Burnley game and we had a lot of possession, but it was just sideways and backwards passing a lot of the time. And it's like possession without purpose. So even if we have got 60% possession, I doubt we can do much with it because we're not creating many chances. And the chances that we do create, we can't score to save our lives. So this isn't the best advert for the game, I think. It sounds like it's going to be an absolute snooze fest. But if it's a 0-0 draw, I'll take a point at this point. I mean, beggars can't be choosers.
I know you're right, but we know better as well, unfortunately, because we just don't keep the ball. We pass it sideways and backwards as well. As an example, against Chelsea in the 83rd minute, we had the ball deep into Chelsea half, took a throw in, and then I think it went to Longstaff, then to Lascelles, all the way back to Cardalo in goal. So it was 20 yards away from goal, and we passed it all the way back to our goalkeeper. Now, if the fans in the stadium that year, then Steve Bruce would have got absolutely roasted that day. But we are just so out of defensive, right? I would not be surprised if he played a 5-4-1. If he does that and we get beat, then he's going to get the rounds of the kitchen here. But like you said, I think this be a good game.
You don't want to. I mean, we're going to go down as like the worst team in Premier League history. So you don't want to be the first team to lose to us. That would be really embarrassing. I mean, but I think, I don't know, maybe you will sit back, but we can't break down defenses. So as long as you've got a lot of people in the box, you'll be fine. It's just if you can. I mean, I think I'm really glad that Sam Maximan's out because I think in the form we're in now with the way how I mean, he caused our defence a lot of problems last year when our defence was good. So what he would do to us now, I don't even want to imagine, because he would absolutely tear us apart as it is now.
Wow, I totally agree. I mean, he's a bad miss for us, but I was talking about nearly 2 months ago. Then he went on the plane, and then they claimed he had COVID, but also he had a bus stop with Steve Bruce. And apparently, don't even still not because the club don't tell us anything. They don't tell us not. So the fact of the matter is, I mean, someone ain't right there. I don't think he's happy with Steve Bruce playing. But if he's here next season, I can see St. Maximus could be on his way. It's a shame. He's a talented player. He does frustrate a lot sometimes, I must admit, but he's got all the skills and the dribbles and that. But he needs to work on the final ball. But at the end of the day, I love the lad, and he's a cracking player. He can create something out of note, and he needs a bit more assists, and he'll be fine. But I got Rianne on the chat. Howdy, folks. Just checking on my lunch. Possession without purpose is a great phrase. And he comes on my Watchalong 3 times so far, and he's been great to join us. So it's all about possession of the game, and if we start having a go at teams, they may get some. We've got some talented players at the club. We've got Callum Wilson who score goals. We've got Andy Cowles coming back. Joe Luton's away from space. Ryan Fraser, he's come back to fitness, but he hardly played. And you've got Matt on staff. I hope he plays in the midfield alongside Hayden. And with Jeff Hendricks, it's not good enough for me. I don't know what he brings to the team. All he does just passes backwards, sideways sort of thing. That's all he does. And our goalkeeper this season, Carl Doyle, has been absolutely amazing. Without him, we'd be bottom 3. He has been saves after saves after saves. He has made the most saves in the Premier League this season. And the fact of the matter is, without him, but De Blacker came in as well last night after a long injury for 5 months, and he was yesterday. And I just hope that it's going to be a good game on Tuesday, but I don't think it's going to be a good game on Tuesday because both teams are.
I think it's going to be awful. I think it's going to be boring.
We got 7.
You've got 2 great keepers, and we can't score to save our lives. So your goalkeepers aren't even going to have hard shots to face, and they're absolutely brilliant goalkeepers. So I'll be amazed if you don't keep a clean sheet. If we score 1, I'll be absolutely astounded. But it's gone. What we were saying.
Yeah. Ben, we only kept 2 clean sheets last season. That's away to West Ham, which is our best performance of the season. Yeah, and away to Crystal Palace, we won by 2 goals to 0. And the fact of the matter is, we just when you play 5 at the back, you have to defend better. You cannot afford to let Darlow keep making saves all the time. And look, we got Kieran Clark's a good defender. We got Fernandez is a good defender. I thought Lascelles been poor all season. And Fabian Shah, I quite like him at the back. So if he's going to play 3 centre-halves, it'll be those 3. I don't think Lascelles will come back. But we haven't got a creativity in midfield at all whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? I mean, John Shelby, on his day, he's okay, but I think his legs has gone. I just don't think he's playing that he wants anymore. So if you want to have him next season, you're welcome to him.
Honestly, man, given how poor our midfield has been this season, absolutely anyone. Honestly, it's absolutely. I think we should just start playing some more of our under-23 players, honestly, because a couple of them have come on and look pretty right. But no, I think for me, our lineup, I'd start the same as we did against Bristol Rovers. It's a bit annoying because it's sort of like we've had a lot of poor players and a lot of poor performances this season, but 2 of the better players have been George Baldock, who hasn't been great, but has been sort of the best of a bad bunch. But then we've got this Jaden Bogle that's come in, and he's been brilliant when he's come on. I think he's played 2.5 games, scored twice now. Obviously, one was in the FA Cup. And it's annoying because they both play right wing backs. It's it's annoying that we can't play both of them. It's why did 2 of our best 5 players play in the same position? So that's really frustrating. But it's sort of one thing that's frustrating with us is sort of if you could combine 3 of our strikers, you'd have one brilliant striker. We've got Ollie McBurney, who I think he's still out with COVID or self-isolating. but he's brilliant in the air. Then you've got like Ollie Burke, who's really quick and he's really strong and quick, and he'll probably like run past your defense and he'll be through 1-on-1 and he'll just miss or just like completely get his legs mixed up and just like fumble the ball out for a goal kick. And then we've got like David McGoldrick, who's like sort of having to do the job of about 2 or 3 players at the minute because we're playing him as a striker, but because he's like one of the only players that can actually pass the ball or dribble, he's also having to play the roles like the cam or the number 10. So he's like playing the role of a 9 and a 10 in the same game. But no, I'd start with the same lineup for us. Really, we're a bit stretched for players at the minute, what with injuries and a few COVID cases. I mean, personally, I'm not sure how Newcastle are doing, but with COVID, but I can't see. I think the season will get suspended for a bit, like it was last time. Personally,
I've got a fun feeling it will be as well. I hope it doesn't, but it's going to be obvious. It's going to be suspended again. I can see the FA Cup's been suspended. I can see the Premier League's been suspended yet again, which is a shame because we want to try and get the season over. But personally, I just cancelled the Euros this season again. Get them cancelled.
Yeah.
I don't think you should have the Euros at all. But on the COVID for our players, I mean, so Max Vance recovered, a Cornley, Lascelles has recovered, and we had Isaac Hayden as well. He recovered about a month ago, and when he came back in, I thought he was absolutely excellent, Isaac Hayden. I mean, he's the player to watch as well. He doesn't do a lot, but he tackles well. His tackling's excellent. And he can play in defence, but his main position's in midfield, and he's doing okay. And he's one of our better players, I see it. But he's come back from COVID as well. And other than that, we suffer from it as well because we haven't been playing well, like I said. It could be that. But it's down to Steve Bruce's tactics as well, and which isn't helping. So it's going to be, I just hope that go through the season, I can't see it though. I just can't see it.
No, I mean, I think coming towards, I think like usually Steve Bruce will just go, oh, we'll just sit back, it's away from home and just try and play for a draw. But I'm hoping the fact that because it's against us and how poor we've been, he'll go that, well, a draw is not really acceptable. We need to try and beat these because they've been so poor this season. So hopefully that brings you out a bit. And I say it hopes it brings you out. You'll just tear us apart at the back. It doesn't take much. You'll just have to be on about 60% of your capacity, and you'll find a way through our defence. But hopefully, because if you sit back, I mean, we're struggling to create chances at the best of times. So if you've got a crowded box, we've got no chance whatsoever. So hopefully you come out and try and attack us a bit. And I think Steve Bruce, he can't sit back and defend.Maybe if you take the lead, he'll sit back and defend like Burnley did against us. They took the lead and sat back. But I don't think he can take the leader because a lot of times, if you were going away to Leicester or, someone that was half decent, it'd be like, oh, well, we'll just sit back and defend and see if we can nick something. But I think because of how poor we've been, he'll know that that's not acceptable. It's like going away to like a championship side in an FA Cup or something like that. It's not acceptable for Newcastle just to sit back. So I think that you will, I think he will have a more positive approach just because of how poor we've been and try and sniff out, smell a bit of blood. Whether that will benefit us, who knows, honestly, because I'm interested to see in our response after that because we've had our first win in literally 6 months now. So hopefully that just spurs us on with some belief and positivity. And that's all all it's resting on now. That's all we're resting on is whether our win against Bristol Rovers can spur us on in some way.
I don't know if it's not the case on Tuesday afterwards, then you know what I mean? But you're right. I mean, it's going to be, for me personally, I think it's going to be cagey. I think it's 2 teams that are going to struggle to score goals.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be very, very, very little creativity. If Callum Wilson get the service and if he does play, then we've got a chance as anyone. But if Jordan starts and play a 5-4-1, he needs players. They've got absolutely no chance whatsoever. But it's a shame, but for me, I think it's going to be probably once each. I said probably once, or I'm going to end up with either team. But I got a message from Rian. Bruce really needs to attack this week. right? He can't sit back. He's not that daft, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, I don't think I think in most cases, if you were playing almost anyone else on Tuesday away from home, he would probably be negative. But like I said, because of how poor we've been, he just knows that sitting back and playing for a draw just isn't acceptable against us. It might be against other opposition, but against us, it really isn't. And I think say if it does end like 0-0, I think Newcastle fans will be like calling for his head. I can imagine that being a really frustrating performance for you. I don't think you would accept a 0-0 really now. Well, maybe depending on the circumstances, but like I think beforehand you're thinking we need to go and win this. Really, I mean for us, it's honestly it doesn't even matter anymore what we do. I'm just that's the best thing about being this bad. I can just relax now. I say that I'll be shouting and annoyed, but we've got nothing to lose, almost quite literally. Whereas obviously you've got to try and salvage something of what's left of the season, and so he really can't. He's going to have to try and go for actually have to go out and win the game. And like I said, you've still got Callum Wilson who can cause us a world of problems. He's a brilliant striker, so he could still cause us a flipping world of pain. But hopefully we can try and hopefully we can try and break it down in midfield. But our midfield's been woeful this season as well. So like I said, I can just see it just been people hitting it upfield and just heading it back into the midfield and it just breaking down there and being a really boring game with like no structure to it.
We've been the most watched team of the season in the Premier League this season. I see why he's trying to see it, but they recently got us watched this season because they want to see us lose, basically, because we know we're going to get beat so predictable. We're so easy to play against. The opposition will probably score a lot of goals against us, but you're right. It's all down to Callum Wilson. If he gets the service from midfield, which haven't been excellent this season, by the way, then we're absolutely fine. But the problem is with Steve Bruce, he doesn't play with natural wingers. Miggy Amron is number 10. Yeah, he's not a natural winger. He's a 10. But he's been messed about this season. He's been playing left wing, right wing, and mainly plays a left back as well. And he's not that player. He's a 10 creating chances. Jake Murphy is not the best winger in the world by any stretch of imagination, but he plays on the right and he does a good job. But unfortunately, we've got Jeff Hendricks playing there and he's not a winger. And he's a central mid, but he plays on the right side of midfield and he doesn't offer us anything at all whatsoever. But I just hope that Callum Wilson gets the service from the wings and then hopefully we win the game. But if you don't get the service, that's been our problem of the season because the football's been poor. Then again, we're going to have problems as well. So it's going to be very close, I think, but I don't believe it's an exciting game. I got Rian again. Do you have any young players who can use a run out? We got a lad called Anderson who came on yesterday in the FA Cup. I thought he was excellent. He did more than Joe Linton. And again, he plays in midfield, a young lad, 18 years old, and I hope he gets some more games from us, if you see what I mean. I wouldn't mind playing him tomorrow, to be quite honest with you, you know what I mean? But Bruce won't do that because he doesn't want to burn the kid out. But we'll have to see what happens on that. So give us your prediction for Tuesday, mate.
I think I want to stick with we seem to lose 80% of our games this way. 1-0. Andy Carroll header. 1-0. You'll win 1-0. Easy.
If he starts. It'll be from
a set piece. It'll be from a set piece. I can guarantee it now. You'll score a header from a set piece and you'll win 1-0.
Let's hope that is the case. I mean, I don't feel confident about my team at the minute because we have lost 7 games in 11 and we've only scored 1 goal in the last 5 games.
That's nothing. I'd give my left arm to have lost 7 games in 11. That's nothing, man. That's like paradise for us.
We're in trouble, mate. I mean, we're 8 points for relegation zone, right?
We're in trouble. We've got 2 points. We've got 2 points.
I know. But we can't score goals. We cannot score for nothing.
Well, it's going to be an absolutely horrendous game on Tuesday. It's just going to be a slogfest, 0-0 or 1. I think it'll still be 1-0. You'll manage to nick 1.
1-0 to us. Well, I'll have to agree with you, man. It's just it's going to be a snowfest as well. There's going to be very little creativity, and bottom of action. Personally, I'm gonna stick my neck out and I say we've got to win it. My heart says we're gonna win, but my head says it's gonna be 0-0, and it will not be good for both sides. You know what I mean? Because you look at the games you got left.
Yeah.
We got here like Burnley. You got Burnley, Hughes, West Brom, Brighton. They're all below us, and we got to go away to them. We lose those games, we'll be in serious trouble. And then you got to play Chelsea and Man U 2 consecutive away games, yeah. And the last game of the season is against Fulham, and I don't feel confident with beating Fulham. I just don't. And yeah, I'll say 0-0 as well. And let's hope one of our respected teams wins the game. And yeah, we've got to see what happens, man. But
yeah,
I'm not going to.
I've not got much hope for the game. I don't think it'll be entertaining.
I don't think it will be. I've got to do a watch along as well with me guy for the first time called James from Toonari TV. And
yeah,
if you get him followed, he's a great lad. And he knows his football. He's an avid Newcastle fan. He's got 3,500 subscribers on his channel. And I'm so chuffed for the guy. I only started this a couple of weeks ago, on the watch along. So I've got 180. Yeah. So I've got to build it up. I've got to keep it going. And I'm trying to get the graphic. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. So listen, I'll let you wrap it up. Yeah, I'll let you go. I'll just give you one message from Rianne again. Right, he's from California, right? And he's been fantastic at the minute. I'd love to just see it entertain the match. We would take them by 2 goals, both in the first half, and that is Newcastle to win by 2 goals to 0. Rianne, I hope you're right, mate. I really hope you're right. And I've got no one else coming in as well. No. Like I said, early just started. So listen, I'll let you crack on, yeah, so you can get yourself ready for work in the morning if you're working. I wish you all the best of luck on Tuesday. And Rianne, again, I've got and thanks very much. And it's been lovely chatting to you. And you too. Listen, we get on the game. Have a good one.
Yeah. Best of luck for the rest of the season, but hopefully you'll have a shocking time on Tuesday night.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. I hope after this, after RPM, I hope you stay up. I think if you keep going, you've got the players to do it, sort of thing. But I just don't think so either this season. I think you left it too late. So I hope you guys do. I hope you come straight back up because we like Sheffield United. We like your stadium. Obviously, it's fantastic. So, but thanks so much for coming on, Ben, and good luck.
Yeah, thanks for having me, mate. Cheers.
You too.
Thanks
very much. See you later. Bye. Bye. That has been Sheffield United supporter. So hoping that his fortunes to change up and just send us a tweet there. Cheers, mate. Much appreciated. And come on again, Ben. So if you like my videos, if you like, subscribe, leave a comment down section down below. And I'll should be back doing my press conference reaction tomorrow. And hopefully that should be fun. I'll get my graphics sorted out as well in my channel. And until then, I'm going to wrap it up. Until then, have a good evening. Jazz.